Yeah, happy for Jace. Just the way that he came in and was a key contributor to us winning. Kai Jones, I thought this was one of his best games, just with his activity and energy on both ends of the floor. It was a game where, 19 turnovers is way too many. And I told our guards, I mean, you guys got to lead the way with taking care of the ball better. But I thought they passed the ball well, other than the turnovers, found each other. That's why we shot a good percentage. And then a terrific job at the foul line.
Westcott, start us off.
Yeah, Shaka, I was just wondering about pick and roll coverages. It seemed like there were some struggles against Kansas early in the game, some difficulties against Iowa State, and then a lot of pressure as well with the stagger screens. How do you think your team did with those today?
Pick and roll coverage. I thought we had, I have to watch the tape, but I would say we probably defended about 75, 80% of them really, really well. It's actually something that Jericho is really good at, but he obviously only played 10 and a half minutes tonight because of foul trouble. We want to be aggressive in the pick and roll. And on those, 20%, 25, whatever it was, where we were not aggressive enough, Iowa State did a good job attacking. You mentioned the Kansas game. I thought our pick and roll coverage got much better in the second half of that game. But what they were trying to do was actually more off the ball, throwing it to the weak side and attacking. But Coleman Lands was terrific coming off of screening action off the ball. I told the guys before the game in our scouting preparation, I think he's the best player in our conference coming off of off-ball screens and shooting the ball. And he showed that tonight. He really got going. I thought our guys made a good adjustment mid-second half of really trying to get on the side of him and force him away from the screen. But he made some tough shots.
And then just real quick, Shaka, the zone defense that you were playing, the full court pressure, what do you call that? And what type of impact do you think that had on the game?
I thought it was good. We have a couple different zone presses that we use. One's 3/4 court and one is full court. And we started with the full court. We turned them over a couple times, but then the guys, called our 3/4 court pressure, which is, it's just a 1-2-2. But we had good activity, and we did a nice job with our front three guys having active hands. And I think we forced a couple 10-second counts. So that was big for us when we went on that run in the first half. That was a big part of it.
Thanks, Shaka.
You got it.
You guys, we got several questions, so let's keep it to one each. Start with Nick.
Yeah, Shaka, you mentioned, Kai earlier, and there just aren't a lot of dudes out there his size that can, move the way that he does and affect the game, the game that he does. Just is he starting to understand that with his, his length, his athleticism, his motor, that he can really be a game changer, not just in a game like this, but, moving forward in the tournament?
I think so. Nick, he had some plays tonight where he really played with great maximum effort and, multiple efforts. And that's when he does that, he's really, really special as a player. I thought he did a really good job at the foul line. 9 for 10 is huge. When you're 6'11" and you can shoot that well from the line, that's big. And then, he defensive rebounded pretty well. His activity on defense, he got his hands on the ball some, which was good. So, I'm happy for him that he's kind of coming to this realization of who he can be. But, he's really just scratching the surface. But you're absolutely right. I mean, we need this type of energy and multiple efforts from him as we go here in March.
Dustin, you're up.
Shaka, what'd you think of the ball movement on offense? Seemed like you guys had stretches where really popped around with some really good pace. Maybe some other times where it kind of got stagnant a little bit. And with your older guards, you kind of give them just like, like the parent, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed about some of these turnovers, because it's kind of been a lingering thing the last few games where they just have some, it's just very uncharacteristic of them.
Yeah. I mean, you basically said it. The whole thing, everything you said is true. We had some possessions where we moved the ball really, really well. We were able to caused them to run out of guys on the backside and shoot some wide open shots. I actually thought we passed up some pretty good looks. And, you know, didn't necessarily get a good look after we passed up the one earlier in the possession. Then, yeah, with those guys, I mean, you got to give them some leeway to make plays. But sometimes I think tonight we got a little stagnant, dribbling too much. And then, some of those turnovers were just unforced. Matt, I'm always on Matt about a lot of things, but, I just told him at halftime, man, you can't do that. That's not acceptable. And, it's interesting. Sometimes my daughter will say, well, I didn't do it on purpose, and sometimes a player will say that, I didn't try to turn it over. And, as a coach, it's, well, you have to try to not turn it over. Otherwise, you got to come out. So obviously we're going to ride with those guys. Those three guards are big in everything we've done, but we can't have 11 turnovers from them, or 12 turnover, whatever it was between the three of them.
Brian, you're up.
Hey, Shaka, it's been a long road for Jace. It's good to see him hitting some shots and smiling on the Zoom here. What's this journey been like for him? And then going forward, what are you kind of hoping to get out of him this month?
The journey's been tough. I mean, the surgery he had, was pretty extensive. And I think all of us thought that he was going to be able to come back sooner than he did. For whatever reason, it took longer. So that's been really frustrating for him at times, Brian. Jace is a very, very polite, doesn't rock the boat, doesn't complain, very mature. But like anyone else, something like that bothered him and frustrated him. And it frustrated me as well. So it's good to see him, continue to work his way back. What would we like to see from him in the remainder of March? Really what he did tonight would be great. Being able to come in the game. He was 3 for 4 from 3, which was huge. I thought, when he's in, he gives our team another experienced guy that understands certain coverages on defense and, isn't necessarily going to make young guy mistakes. He's still working his way back, Ryan, on defense. I think that, honestly, that's the end of the floor where we got to help him gain confidence really more than anything. It's like, I can get down in the stance, I can move my feet and guard. But, if he can come in the game and contribute like he did tonight, that'll be huge for us.
Got time for one last one, Joe, go ahead.
Kai said that you told the team that their theme was that, take them serious. How do you think they did in that regard? And then do you need a theme against Oklahoma and TCU over the next stretch of games? That's the same type of thing.
Okay. Kai must have heard from someone else, because that actually wasn't our theme. Although we did talk about taking them seriously. Sometimes you wonder as a coach, it's like probably like a teacher, what percentage of what you're saying to a guy actually gets retained. But anyway, do we need a theme against Oklahoma? We shouldn't need a theme. Now, I usually, give our team a theme for every game. But to be honest with you, Joe, at this time of year, if you need a theme to get up to play, if you need a theme to, to go into a game motivated, then that's a problem right there. So it's about putting winning over everything else. It's about playing with the clarity of mind, not a divided mind, about your team and your teammates and winning the game. And if we can go do that, we'll give ourselves a chance. That doesn't guarantee you beat Oklahoma on the road, but it gives you a chance.
Actually, one more, Shaka. Roger, go ahead.
Hey, Shaka, we talked yesterday. Sometimes you fear that maybe the big picture is what the focus is on this time of year. How important was it just to come in here, get it done? Iowa State obviously would kill for a win right now. And they kept it within striking distance until about the last 90 seconds of the game. And your guys made the plays.
Yeah, we talked about Iowa State, being a team that really, really wanted to win, and they've been close. They, played Baylor really tough a week ago. They were up on TCU late here in their last game. When you play those type of teams, that at some point, if you don't come in here on edge, they can break through on somebody. And we just, our guys were pretty good about saying, well, we ain't letting that happen to us. I appreciate that. It's obviously the first of 3 games on the road this week. We can only play one at a time. So now we got to quickly turn the page.